Hello students. So we are moving on to the next session of module 5, that is advanced or non-conventional machining. So in circumstances where we cannot machine a material which is very hard or very strong, and such materials need to be machined, we go for techniques like the advanced machining process, which is called as non-conventional machining process. So why it is non-conventional? We have already seen conventional machining process like using of machine tools or hand machining, and apart from that, in there we saw that there is toolware. So here we come across this advanced or non-conventional machining where the toolware is minimized and we get a better surface finish, and it is used for machining any material. So those cases we call it as non-conventional machining or advanced machining. So the advanced machining can be categorized based on the energy that we are using for machining. So basically we have 4 different types of energy which is being used for advanced machining process, namely chemical, electrochemical, electrothermal and mechanical. So in general we can categorize it into 4, that is chemical, electrochemical, electrothermal and mechanical energy based on the nature of energy being used for machining. Now broadly classifying, we can see that using chemical energy, the machining is called as chemical machining. Now using electrochemical energy, we call it as electrochemical machining or ECM, and electrolytic grinding. And then using electrothermal energy, we have electrical discharge machining EDM, electron beam machining EBM, plasma arc machining PAM, and laser beam machining LBM. And then using mechanical energy as the source of machining, we have ultrasonic machining USM and abrasive jet machining AJM. So abrasive jet machining can also be used with the help of water instead of any other propagating medium. We can use water for this jet, and that is called as water jet machining. So according to our syllabus, we have to learn 4 different advanced machining process, that is under electrochemical energy being used, we have electrochemical machining. Under electrothermal energy which is being used, we have electrical discharge machining. Then under the mechanical energy that we are using, we have ultrasonic machining and abrasive jet machining. So how we will be dealing with all these 4 machining processes are, we will have to learn the pictorial representation or the diagram of the 4 machining process, then what is the operation principle and where it can be applied. These are the areas which we need to learn and write for our examination. So before going in detail about these 4 machining processes, I will just give you a brief outline on all the advanced machining operations. And again, let me just give you the names: the chemical machining, electrochemical machining, electrolytic grinding, electric discharge machining, electron beam machining, plasma arc machining, laser beam machining, ultrasonic machining, abrasive jet machining and water jet machining. So these are a very vast area of advanced machining operations, and you need to be very careful with the terms that you use in machining. So let's start with chemical machining. So what are the characteristics of chemical machining? We have shallow removal on large flat or curved surfaces and blanking of thin sheets, low tooling and equipment cost, suitable for low production runs. So chemical machining basically uses the principle of leaching or etching, where we have a chemical reacting agent and we allow it to flow over the machining area and thereby removing the material. So there the process parameters and typical material removal rate or the cutting speed is very negligible, that is 0.0025 to 0.1 mm per minute. That is a material remove MRR for chemical machining. Now moving on to electrochemical machining, we can machine complex shapes with deep cavities, highest rate of material removal among all the other non-traditional process, and it requires expensive tooling equipment, high power consumption, medium to high production quantity. And here you can see the material removal rate of 2.5 to 12 mm per minute depending on the current density. So how much current you give, that much will be the material which is being removed. So depending on your equipment potential, you can vary the material removal rate. Now moving on to electrochemical grinding, which is slightly advanced of the electrochemical machining, the cutting of and sharpening hardened materials such as tungsten carbide tools, also used for honing process, high removal rate than grinding. So here you can see the electrochemical version of grinding, and here you had already seen the electrochemical version of machining. So these are two interrelated areas. Now moving on to the electrothermal regions, that is electrical discharge machining, we have shaping and cutting complex parts made of hard materials. Some surface damage may result in the case of EDM, and also used as grinding and cutting process, and it also requires expensive tooling and equipment. Typically the material removal rate is 300 mm cube per minute. It is a cubic material where we use, it is called as spark removal or spark charge method. And then we have the advanced forms like laser beam machining and electron beam machining, both using the two different sources like laser and an electron surge. So laser beam machining uses for cutting and hole making on thin materials. Heat affected zones are more prominent in the case of LBM, then does not require a vacuum and very expensive equipment since we use YAG laser and consumes much energy. Similar is the case with EBM, where cutting and hole making on thin materials is the application of EBM and LBM. A very small hole or slots can be made using these two methods. Again, heat affected zone is there, but EBM requires vacuum, which is different from that of LBM. In LBM we did not require vacuum since it is a laser beam, but here we need to propagate electrons or electron beams, so we require vacuum to stabilize the movement of this electron rays or electrons that we are sending. And again the expensive equipment is common for all of the modern or the advanced machining operations. Then we have the abrasive jet machining and water jet machining, in which cutting all types of non-metallic materials to metallic materials can be done. Then single or multi-layer cuts can be done. Again, no thermal damage is found in the case of these jet machinings. And then finally we have ultrasonic machining, which uses abrasive particles. Again, it uses mechanical energy, where abrasive particles are introduced between the tool and the workpiece, and the machine is made to vibrate at ultrasonic frequencies to remove the surface materials in thin layers, and which is leached out by using a flowing stream of water or any other solvents. So here we have a schematic of ECM or electrochemical machining. So electrochemical machining is basically the reverse of electroplating. You might be familiar with electroplating and galvanization. So what is electroplating or galvanization? It is coating a material with another material. So instead of coating a material with another material, here we are removing a material using another material. And for that we require, like the term electrochemical, we have electrodes and an electrolyte. So that is the principle behind electrochemical machining, that is electrolysis. Faraday's principle of electrolysis is the principle, working principle behind electrochemical machining. So in this we can see the power supply, which is a DC power supply, and the tool, which is the cathode, workpiece, which acts as the anode. So here you can see that the anode is positive and cathode acts as negative. And also we can see the flow of electrolyte through the gaps provided in the tool, and you can see the electrolyte again being recollected, filtered and recirculated throughout the electrochemical machining process. So this is the schematic of an electrochemical machining arrangement. So electrochemical machining, like I said, is the reverse of electroplating. an electrolyte acts as the current carrier, and also electrolyte acts as the ion carrier, which remove, or the material is removed in the form of ions. So high rate of electrolyte movement in the tool workpiece gap washes the metal ions away from the workpiece which acts as the anode, before they have a chance to get coated onto the tool, the cathodic tool. And in electroplating, how we did it, we coated one material with another material. But here we should not allow that coating of material, because if we allow the coating of material, that means our tool won't be functional throughout the electrochemical machining process. So we need to make sure that the ions which are removed from the anodic workpiece need to be washed away, and that is the function of electrolyte, other than the leaching operation or other than the material removal operation. Electrolyte also washes away the material which is being removed from the anodic workpiece. So a cavity formed on the workpiece is the female mating shape of the tool. So the cavity formed is exactly the same as that of the tool shape. So depending on the shape of the work, we require tool design as well. So the tool material generally used is brass, copper, bronze or stainless steel. And also electrolyte being used can be any inorganic solvent, like an aqueous solution of sodium nitrate, which is highly conductive. So we require a highly conductive electrolyte as well as good electrically conducting workpiece and tool. So here the electrolyte is pumped through the passage in the tool, and DC power supply is maintained throughout the machining operation. Only by using the DC power supply we can ensure the material removal from the anodic workpiece towards the cathodic tool. So it is used to machine complex cavities and shapes in high strength materials. It is used to provide finish for forging die cavities, and also in micro machining for electronics industries. And the advantages of this electrochemical machining are, it provides a burr-free bright surface on the workpiece. So it can be used as a burr removal process also, and no thermal damage to the part happens, and due to the absence of tool forces, it prevents the part distortion. And also there is no tool wear, since no material is allowed to coat on the tool material. There is no tool wear, and also there is no tool and workpiece contact. There is a safe distance or tool workpiece gap is there, which allows or which does not allow the tool wear. Then complex shapes can be easily machined on hard and strong materials, but one disadvantage can be the expensive equipment cost, and also mechanical properties may vary from the products manufactured using other machining operations. So that may be the difference between this advanced electrochemical machining and the conventional machining operations. Now we will move on to the next advanced machining process, that is electrical discharge machining, or EDM. So electrical discharge machining is also known as spark machining. Colloquially we call it as spark machining because it uses spark eroding, burning, die sinking, wire burning or wire erosion to remove the material, and it uses electrical discharge in the form of sparks for the material removal from the workpiece. And here you can see in automobile batteries, the spark due to this electrical discharge causes pitting or erosion of metal at both anode and cathode. So the principle used in EDM is also called as spark erosion. If anode and cathode are of same material, it has been found that greater erosion takes place at anode, that is the positive electrode. Therefore in EDM process, work is made the anode and the tool is made as cathode or the negative electrode. So here we can see a schematic of EDM, and it is very similar to the ECM schematic. The difference is that here we use a dielectric fluid instead of the electrolyte. So what dielectric fluid does is it acts as the charge carrier between the tool and the work. So we have like we had seen the tool as the negative electrode and workpiece as the positive electrode, similar to that of electrochemical machining. And apart from that, we have the DC supply and also the tool feeding mechanism, which is with the help of a gearbox controlled by a servo motor control. So there we can see the workpiece as positive and tool as negative. So like we had earlier discussed, material removal from the positive will be more than from the negative. So material transfers in the form of splashes or due to the spark from the energy gap between the tool and the workpiece, and due to the presence of dielectric medium, there a spark is generated. This is called the spark gap between the tool and the work. A spark causes the material to erode or pitting as a result of the high voltage spark. So when the dielectric strength breaks, the current flows from the tool to the workpiece or vice versa, depending on the charge alignment, and as a result the spark is generated and material removal happens in both the workpiece and the tool. And this material that is being removed or the breakdown material need to be washed out. That is done by the process called as flushing, in which the dielectric fluid used is replaced by a new and refreshed dielectric medium, and that is called as flushing, which enables the better performance of this EDM machine. And the dielectric fluids used can be hydrocarbon oils, kerosene, or deionized water, generally known as distilled water. So these are the major process in EDM. And then we have the applications of EDM basically used in aerospace industries and automotive industries, where you require high precision machining of high strength materials. So next we move on to ultrasonic machining or USM. So USM is a kind of grinding method. An abrasive slurry is pumped between the tool and the work, and the tool is given a high frequency low amplitude oscillation, which in turn transmits a high velocity to fine abrasive particles which are driven against the workpiece. At each stroke, minute chips of material are removed by fracture or erosion. So it is very similar to our grinding process, where we have abrasives, and this is the schematic of USM. So here you can see the transducer and the power supply to the transducer, which helps in the vibration of the tool. So the vibration occurs at ultrasonic frequencies. So the tool moves at very high velocity, and as a result that velocity is transferred into this abrasive particles. So, and due to that the material on top, or the top layer of the workpiece, is removed, and that is leached out by this abrasive slurry or continuously circulating abrasive slurry, and it is mainly used for removal of hard and brittle materials. So this the entire process is done at ultrasonic frequency. That is why it is given the term ultrasonic machining. And here the energy, the nature of energy used is mechanical energy. Next we move on to abrasive jet machining or AJM. So abrasive jet machining is where we use a jet of abrasive material. So in abrasive jet machining method, the material is removed from the surface or of a workpiece by impinging a focused jet of fine abrasive particles carried by a compressed gas, which imparts kinetic energy to the stream of fine abrasives. And the stream leaves through a nozzle at a velocity of order 300 meters per second and strikes the surface of the workpiece, producing impact loading on it. And as a result, plastic deformation or micro cracks may occur in the vicinity of the impact. Due to the repeated impacts, small chips of material get loosened and fresh surface gets exposed to the jet. So it is basically an etching technique which makes or which is being made use in abrasive jet machining. We can see a schematic of abrasive jet machining. This is just a schematic of abrasive jet machining where we have a compressor which is used for compressing the gas, which usually is nitrogen, dry air or carbon dioxide, and then it is the entire experiment or entire process done under controlled atmosphere, and for that we have pressure gauges and valves and pressure regulators. Then the compressed gas goes into the vibrating mixing chamber where abrasive powder is introduced into the stream of gas of or stream of compressed gas, and then the pressurized air or the gas along with the abrasive particle passes through the nozzle, which is usually made of sapphire or tungsten carbide. The nozzle end usually is of very hard material, since abrasive particle passes through that portion at very high velocity, and due to the kinetic energy these abrasive particles hits on the workpiece and get scattered, and due to the hitting there is an impact which is being generated, and that impact or causes the transfer of energy onto the workpiece material surface, and as a result the material is removed. But since this abrasive particles are carried by air medium, there is a chance of particulate pollution, and which can be reduced by using water jet abrasive machining. You have seen lead blasting at shipyards or in areas where you require the surface material to be removed or burrs to be removed or cuttings to be made using this mechanical force, and there we better use water abrasive jet machining rather than this stream of dry air, nitrogen or carbon dioxide, which are toxic to the atmosphere. And by using water we can ensure that the material removal is also uniform, and that can be done with the help of abrasive jet machining. And here also the machine or the equipment cost is slightly expensive, and that can be overcome by the number of products being machined, and the break-even economy can be achieved. So that's all for abrasive jet machining. See, here you can see the impact can be regulated by varying the distance between the nozzle tip and the workpiece surface. So with that I wind up this session. Thank you.